What if depression is not a disease at all, but something far more ancient and purposeful than you ever imagined? You wake up tomorrow and something feels wrong inside your body and your mind, and you can't explain it to anyone. Not broken in the way you think, not sick with a virus or bacteria, just wrong in a deep fundamental way that won't go away. Your body won't move even when you try. Your mind won't focus on anything important, and the entire world feels heavy and exhausting. But the real answer to why you feel this way is far stranger and more fascinating than the disease model you've been told. Your brain isn't malfunctioning or broken at all. It's doing exactly what it evolved to do over thousands of years of human history. Depression might not be a disease at all in the way we think about diseases, despite how much it feels like one right now. It might be an ancient survival strategy that kept your ancestors alive when infection and danger were constant threats everywhere. Let's trace this back to understand how your brain works and why it responds this way when you feel depressed and immobilized. Picture a human from 10,000 years ago living with no hospitals, no antibiotics, no modern medicine, and no clean water systems. One simple infection could kill you permanently in that world, and your family would lose you to something we can cure today. Your body needed to fight infection before it even touched you, anticipating danger and preparing defense mechanisms constantly. Scientists at Emory University proposed something radical and controversial in 2012 that changed how we understand depression completely. They called it the infection defense hypothesis of depression, linking mood disorders directly to immune system function and survival. The idea is that depression genes were adaptive for helping people not die of infection in environments where medicine didn't exist. Fever, fatigue, social avoidance, and anorexia are not random symptoms or bugs in your system. They're deliberate design features. They're strategic responses to fight infection before it kills you, conserving energy and keeping you close to safety and community. When your ancestors got sick with infection, they didn't go to work or try to be productive. They stayed home and rested. They stayed home near their community. They slept for hours without guilt, and they stopped moving to conserve vital energy. This inactivity saved precious energy for fighting the infection inside them instead of wasting it on unnecessary movement or stress. It kept them close to safe communities that could help them with food, water, and protection while they were vulnerable. It prevented them from spreading deadly infection to their kin and family members who depended on them for survival. Dr. Carl Raison, a psychiatrist at Emory University, explained that depression helped young children survive dangerous infections. Depression helped children not die of infection in the ancestral environment where one bug could end a young life permanently. Even if those same behaviors aren't helpful in our modern relationships and work environments today, where we need to be active, your brain knows when you're under threat before you consciously feel it, anticipating danger and preparing defenses automatically. It doesn't wait for the fever to start fighting infection. It activates immune responses before you even feel sick symptoms. Stress pre-activates your immune system to anticipate a wound or infection, preparing your body for battle before it happens. It prepares you to survive before the infection even touches you, giving you a critical advantage in the fight for life. Sleep disruption happens in both mood disorders and when the immune system activates to fight infection, they're the same process. Your ancestors needed to stay alert after injury or infection, watching for predators while their body fought disease internally. They needed to fend off predators while fighting disease inside them, surviving multiple threats simultaneously in dangerous environments. They couldn't collapse completely when danger was still outside, resting partially but staying ready to defend themselves. So, depression immobilized you partially instead of completely giving you rest while maintaining enough awareness for survival. It made you rest instead of collapsing into death, conserving energy while keeping you alive through the dangerous period. It made you conserve energy for survival instead of wasting it on activities that didn't help you fight the infection. It made you survive instead of dying from infection, giving your body the resources it needed to defeat the threat. John Eagles, a psychiatrist in Scotland, said depression could have been an adaptive means of inactivity for survival. It protected pregnant women and mothers from danger in ancient times when they were most vulnerable and needed extra protection. It kept them close to home where they were safer from predators, infection, and other threats that could kill them or their babies. It ensured they bonded with their children instead of abandoning them, strengthening family connections crucial for survival. This explains why women are more likely to be depressed today, especially during certain periods of their reproductive lives. They're more likely during their fertile reproductive years, specifically when pregnancy and childbearing created the most danger. After puberty, women are more likely than men to be depressed because their reproductive role was more vulnerable historically. Before puberty, the sexes are evenly affected by depression because neither has developed reproductive vulnerability yet. Depression was less adaptive for reproductive age men in ancient times when they needed to be active providers constantly. Men historically needed to be providers and protectors for their families, moving and working to secure food and safety. Your brain also links mood to creativity and innovation, using negative emotions to drive problem solving and adaptation. Negative emotions induce life-saving innovations in dangerous situations, making you think harder about solutions to threats. This is a clear evolutionary advantage for your ancestors, turning depression into a tool for survival and adaptation. But here's where it gets even stranger today, and why understanding this changes everything about how you see depression. A study found gene variants related to depression risk and immune responses to infection are directly connected in your DNA. These variants likely enhanced our ancestors' health against infection, making them more resilient to deadly diseases. Depression literally protected us from dying of infection historically, saving countless generations from premature death. Now fast forward to today, where you live with antibiotics that kill infection instantly and hospitals that treat every disease. You live with hospitals and clean water everywhere, modern medicine and safety systems your ancestors never imagined possible. Infection is no longer the major cause of mortality today, replaced by different threats that your brain doesn't understand. But your brain doesn't know that modern world exists, still operating with ancient software designed for a different environment. Your brain still thinks it's 10,000 years ago, activating the same survival strategies that worked for your ancestors. It still activates the same ancient survival strategy today, even though it no longer matches your current environment. It still immobilizes you like it did for ancestors, making you rest when rest might not be necessary anymore. It still makes you rest instead of fighting infection, even though infection is rarely the threat it once was. It still makes you avoid instead of spreading disease, isolating you when isolation might not help anymore. The problem is that this strategy no longer matches your environment, creating a mismatch between brain and world. Brandon Hidaka, a researcher at University of Kansas, wrote a paper called Depression as a Disease of Modernity, explaining this. Americans born after 1955 are 3 times more likely to suffer depression than their grandparents' generation, and the numbers keep rising. Chinese people born after 1966 are 22.4 times more likely to report depression, showing how modernity creates this global crisis.